Hello, my name is Aaron Munns. I'm the Veterans Director at the Mesothelioma Center at asbestos.com. Today I'm going to do a brief overview of the Veteran Service Officer training course that I provide for VSOs to help them develop asbestos-related claims for disability claims for the veterans in their communities. We are a free help center that helps veterans and civilians across the country with information about all aspects of asbestos diseases, helping provide information and about how to get an accurate diagnosis of an asbestos lung disease or a cancer diagnosis related to asbestos, providing information for support, information about treatment options for veterans who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma cancer, helping them connect with specialty centers, as well as connecting with financial help, including veterans disability compensation and DIC claims for spouses and dependents, in addition to information about civilian legal assistance and travel grants that are available to help aid with cancer diagnoses. With VSOs, we primarily help with helping understand nexus statements for asbestos-related diseases and developing asbestos exposure summaries to substantiate asbestos exposure in the service for disability claims. And for every veteran that we connect with, we try to connect them with their local veteran service officer. The elements of a successful veteran's disability claim for asbestos exposure, the first thing to start off with is that nothing is presumptive for asbestos claims. You must prove that there is a medical connection between the diagnosis and asbestos, and you also have to show that there was military exposure to asbestos, in addition to proving that there was a majority of lifetime exposure during military service. This is for all veterans except for those that have PACT Act exposure from the Persian Gulf and post 9/11 global war on terror exposure. Most of the veterans that I work with served from the 1960s and 70s in the Vietnam era, and then in the 70s and 80s in the Cold War era. Asbestos takes an average of 25 to 50 years after exposure to cause any symptoms or problems. So most of these veterans are not PACT Act eligible for asbestos. The VA recognizes that several different lung conditions, including pleural effusion and fibrosis, pleural plaques, and asbestosis or pulmonary fibrosis can be caused by asbestos, as well as mesothelioma, cancer of the pleura and peritoneum, and cancers of the lung, bronchus, gastrointestinal tract, larynx, pharynx, and urogenital system, except the prostate. Once the veteran has a good diagnosis and nexus statement, the next step is to convince the VA and prove that the veteran had more exposure to asbestos during their service than in their civilian career. So here are some of the questions that we ask veterans when we're doing and assisting with this to help write an exposure summary. Now I can speak to the veteran directly or to the veteran service officer to help with this, and I have examples of many different exposure summaries to provide to help aid in this process. Something to note is that not all exposure to asbestos is equal, especially if there is civilian exposure. We try to calculate how much exposure the veteran had on active duty. This is particularly critical for Navy veterans who served in an asbestos environment 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, versus a civilian job where they may have worked 40 or 50 hours a week exposed to asbestos. And we can help with this. The training class that I provide goes into this in more depth. Here are some key phrases that we include in every exposure summary. Letting the VA know that they were never provided with any breathing protection or other protective gear during their service, and letting them know directly out of the M21-1, referring to the latency period, where many people with asbestos-related diseases have only recently come to medical attention because the latent period for development of disease due to exposure to asbestos ranges up to 45 or more years between first exposure and development of disease. Since we've started putting that phrase in exposure summaries, we haven't seen them get kicked back because there wasn't a diagnosis or a complaint of an asbestos-related disease on active duty. If you have questions or need some assistance, if you'd like some examples sent to your office or would like me to email you some examples, please contact me. You can reach me by phone or email. If you are the training point of contact for your state and would like to schedule state training this spring or coming fall in 2024, please let me know. We can come out to your state, provide an hour-long class to your VSOs at no charge to your state. Again, please let me know if I may be able to help.